Good evening and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you're having a good day, a good night. Massive show to bring you guys this evening. But before we jump into that, please do me a favour and smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Really, really helps out the channel. So yeah, if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe and make sure to smash a like. So on the show this evening, we're going to be talking a little bit about Anthony Martial, with a story coming out saying that there are people putting in bids apparently for Anthony Martial ahead of the January transfer window. So we'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking a little bit about Jim Ratcliffe. Apparently the deal is going to be announced before Christmas. That's what the headline is today. Obviously Christmas in the UK is on the 25th. I know in other countries, it's some countries in the 24th. Obviously some countries don't celebrate Christmas, but apparently it's going to be announced by the 25th. So that could either be tomorrow or the day after. So we'll talk about that. A couple of other bits to get into as well on the show. As always, I invite you to have your say on all things Manchester United in the comment section below. Let me know what your score predictions are for the game tomorrow as well against West Ham. Really, really, really excited about that match. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll obviously do a bit of a preview on this video for that as well. So get in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are for the game tomorrow. Right, let's start off with this story about Anthony Martial. So this is coming out from Gazzetta, which is an Italian media platform. And they're reporting this afternoon that Manchester United want to sell Anthony Martial in January. I think that's the correct decision. Good. And it goes on to say that Inter Milan are interested in signing him in January. Now, I can see him at Inter Milan. I think he'd probably be quite a good fit there. I think he'd suit Italian football a lot more. The one thing I just don't really understand with this is, would he break Inter Milan's wage budget? I'm just going to have a little look. So Inter Milan's highest earning player is Çalhanoğlu, who is on around 215,000 a week. Sorry. So yeah, he probably would be all right, actually. I think he's on about 200 at United. So he'd be one of the highest earners, but they've got Barella, Bastoni, Lautaro Martinez and Çalhanoğlu, who are all earning around the same as him at United. So yeah. The only thing I will say with this story is, obviously I don't follow Inter Milan that much, but you know, they have got Marcus Thuram, who they signed in the summer. They've got Alexis Sanchez, they've got Arnautovic, and they've got Lautaro Martinez. They've got 4 strikers already. So unless one of those strikers is injured or is leaving, I don't really understand how or why they'd want to sign Anthony Martial, personally, if they've already got 4 people in the same position. Seems a little bit strange to me. Let me know in the comment section, guys, if you know... like if you follow Italian football, let me know. But for me, I don't really understand why Inter Milan would want him, because they've clearly got better players than Anthony Martial already. So why would they bring in somebody who effectively is just going to sit on the bench? It doesn't really add up to me. So I think this story I'd say is probably a rubbish story personally, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm just trying to work it out. Yeah, so they've got Marco Arnautovic, Marcus Thuram, Lissandro Martinez, Lautaro Martinez, Alexis Sanchez, and somebody called M. Sarr, who I don't know who that is. So they've got effectively 5 strikers already, whereas we've got Højlund and Martial, and that's it. So I don't know. Seems a little bit strange. Daniel says they have the wages from Lukaku to spare. Yeah, that's a fair point. I hadn't really considered that. Obviously, they did have Lukaku last season. Maybe I guess Martinez plays as more of a cam, doesn't he? Yeah, so maybe that's why. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that one. I personally think that Martial will probably leave in the summer as a free agent. Like, that seems like the most likely option, you know. If we were to get any money from him in January, I'd be absolutely buzzing with that. I would, because his contract expires in 6 months. We know that United won't give him a new contract now. At least I hope they won't. So yeah, I think it's quite unlikely that someone's going to offer him big money to go in January. Like, why would they do that when they could literally just speak to him in January and say, we'll give you a pre-contract agreement, we'll sign you in the summer, wait till the summer. And they can do that. Any club that isn't in Europe, any club that's not in England can sign Anthony Martial in January as a free agent, but he wouldn't be able to join until June when his contract expires. So why would Inter Milan pay us money now when they could literally just get him in 6 months for free? Like, it doesn't really add up to me, but let me know what you guys think. I think he probably will stay here. Daniel says maybe they want Martial to play on the wing for them. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a possibility. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. People talking about Sir Jim in the comment section. Let's talk about Jim Ratcliffe then. Now, this story is coming out from literally every single different journalist in the UK this afternoon. You've got the BBC, you've got You've got all sorts of different people all reporting this story, and the headline is that apparently the deal will be announced before Christmas. I mean, how long have we been hearing that for? I just want it to happen now. I just want to know that we have this new person in. I want to know that we'll have a bit of money in January. I want to know that the stadium works are going to start. I want to know that they'll be, bringing in competent people behind the scenes. Like, I just want things to begin now. Obviously, we know that it will take, I think, between 2 and 4 weeks for the Premier League to approve the 25% ownership. But I can't imagine there being any hiccups with that, to be honest. So, if it was announced, say, in the next 2 or 3 days, I would imagine that Jim Ratcliffe will be able to start buying players and, having a say within a couple of weeks. So mid-January. And that's what we need, because we desperately need to sign players in January, and we also desperately need to let some players go. I mean, we need to find a resolution with Sancho. We need to potentially, I wouldn't do this personally, but, if Casemiro and Varane aren't going to be part of Erik ten Hag's plans, which I'd say is 50-50 at the moment, then you probably need to look at, selling them as well. So, yeah, there's lots of different moving parts at the moment. And we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Now, there was a really, really big news piece that came out today from Laurie Whitwell in The Athletic, where he was talking about how the last kind of 2 or 3 years have worked, and all the rest of these bad transfers and all of these types of things. Now, one of the really, really eye-opening things for me was this quote. It says, under the management of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Manchester United scouts have made reports that left staff valuing Antony at around 25 million. So the reason I bring this up is, right, we've got our scouts at the moment valuing a player at 25 million. 6 months later, we pay 80 million for them. This is a direct example of Richard Arnold and John Murtaugh's wrongdoings. And the story also went on to say, which I literally could not get my head around. So John Murtaugh was apparently offered a job at Inter Miami, which is obviously the team that David Beckham owns. He was going to take that job, so United offer him the director of football job. This guy's never been a director of football in his life. And we wonder why we're in the position where we are now, It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous for me. But I do think that we are now kind of on the homewards straight. And I do think that in the next kind of month or so, we should have a bit of clarity, and at least then we should have this new team, whether that's Dan Ashworth, Dave Brailsford, Paul Mitchell, Jean-Claude Blanc. Hopefully we have this super team together and we can start moving things in the right direction. Malp says Sir Jim wants those dividends fast. Malp says, never heard of Guirassy, never seen him play. Who is this guy? Any big clubs after him? Mate, he looks decent. He plays for Stuttgart. I think he'd be a good signing. He's got 17 goals in the Bundesliga already. Second highest after Harry Kane. Only 27 years of age. He's got a £15 million release clause. Newcastle are also in talks to sign him as well. So we'll have to wait and see. But you know what, mate? I don't think we're really in a position to be turning our nose up at people. This guy's got 17 goals in the Bundesliga. Rasmus Højlund's got none. So if you're sat there saying, I've never heard of Guirassy, are you telling me you'd really heard of Rasmus Højlund 6 months ago? I hadn't, I'm not going to lie to you. I'd only heard of him probably 6 months ago. Literally. Well, maybe a bit longer, like in the summer. Guirassy, I'd never heard of him until about a week ago, but he's got 17 goals in 14 games, the second highest in the Bundesliga, and he's available for £15 million, whereas we spent £80 million or 80 million euros on Højlund, who I like and I think is going to come good, and he scored no goals. So I don't think, we're in that position to be kind of saying we're better than players and stuff, because I don't think any of our forwards have even scored this year. Like in the last, I saw a stat the other day, which was crazy, that Jadon Sancho was the last forward to score at Old Trafford or something in the Premier League. It was something like that, like some crazy stat. Because if you think about all the goals, they've been coming from like McTominay, Maguire's got a couple. Who else has scored? I mean, Højlund hasn't scored in the Prem. I think Bruno scored a couple. He's obviously a midfielder. Rashford scored 1 goal away from home in the Prem. Antony hasn't scored in the Prem. Like, if you look at our attacking line at the moment, no goals for Højlund in the Prem, no goals for Antony, 1 goal that was a penalty for Marcus Rashford. Sancho's obviously not playing. Garnacho got, I think, 1 goal against Everton, didn't he? The bicycle kick. Pelistri's got no goals. Like, we can't really laugh and turn our nose up at other people saying, I don't know who they are, when our whole all of our attackers combined have probably got like 3 goals this season between 6 or 7 of them in 14 games. Like, yeah, and we desperately need reinforcements. Will it work? I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Irvin says, isn't Casemiro still our top scorer? I mean, there you go. That just kind of sums it up for you. You know? The fact that Casemiro is our top scorer, like, that's just laughable, if you ask me. Do you not think? So let's have a look. So our top scorer at the moment is Scott McTominay. He's got 5 goals. Bruno Fernandes has got 3. This is in the Premier League. Sorry, this is all competitions. Scott McTominay's got 6. Bruno's got 6. Rashford's got 3. Casemiro's got 5. Dallow's got 2. Christian Eriksen's got 1. Garnacho's got 1. Lindelof's got 1. Martial, yeah. I mean, it's laughable, isn't it? Let's be honest. It really is laughable that none of our forwards are scoring. And we desperately need reinforcements. So hopefully this does happen. Daniel says, yes, in April, Sancho was the last forward to score in the Premier League. It's shocking. If this was a company, they'd be fired. 0 sales in 6 months would be deemed fireable. I completely agree. Mate. It is laughable, and it's a disgrace. It is. Fred says, am I the only one wondering where the money is coming from? We're all wondering that, mate. We're all wondering that. Daniel says, Newcastle rumoured to want Guirassy, but they have Isaac. He's had 1 good season this season, but his main attribute is he's available and £15 million release clause. Exactly. Like, if we were sat here saying we're going to spend 80 million on a guy who's had 1 good season in the Bundesliga, I'd say what a load of rubbish. But 15 million, that would be one of our cheapest signings in a very long time. And worst case scenario, you give him a 3-year contract and it doesn't work and you move on, you know? But best case scenario, he gets you 10 goals a season and you'll look at it and say, for 15 million, we're laughing, you know? So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. But for me, I think it's the kind of deals we have to be looking at. Is it my dream signing? You know, do I wake up in the morning and think, oh, I'm so excited about seeing Guirassy at United? Not really, to be honest. But yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? We'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. We can talk a little bit about the game tomorrow now. We have got a confirmed list of the players who have travelled. I mean, this is a bit of a concern. So the travelling squad, I mean, sometimes players do travel on their own. So before I read this out, bear that in mind. But the people who travelled today on the bus or the train or whatever it was, this is the list. Onana, Bayanda, Wan-Bissaka, Reguilon, Evans, Amrabat, Eriksen, McTominay, Van der Beek, Pellistri, Garnacho, Anthony, Rashford and Højlund. So it goes on to say that players not spotted but could still be part of the squad tomorrow: Tom Heaton, Rafael Varane, Luke Shaw, Bruno Fernandes, Kobe Mainoo, Ahmad and Anthony Martial. I mean, if we're missing all of those players tomorrow, I mean, Tom Heaton, okay, that doesn't really matter. Varane, massive blow. Luke Shaw, massive blow. Bruno, massive blow. Mainoo, massive blow. Obviously, Ahmad's been injured all season, so that's not new. And Anthony Martial, I'm not really too bothered about. So hopefully, you know, these players have travelled on their own. Erik ten Hag did speak to the press earlier and he said that some players have been ill this week and might not be able to make it. It's a concern because West Ham are a decent side. West Ham are a team who, let's be honest, are going to give us a really, really difficult match. I think with our full strength side, we can go and beat West Ham comfortably. But if we're missing people like Bruno, Varane, Luke Shaw, Kobe Mainoo, I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult. And I wouldn't be surprised if we park the bus if we're missing all of those players. Some Muez says we should get Guirassy and a centre-back. Yeah, I'd be up for that. Daniel says Erik ten Hag apparently confirmed no centre-back in January. Martinez will be back. But if Todibo goes to Spurs, we need to start asking questions about Jim Ratcliffe. Mate, I agree with you 100%. 150%. Martinez will be back mid-January. Casemiro will be back mid-January. So that's really, really positive. I still think we need to strengthen the squad, though. I still think that even though these players are back, it doesn't guarantee that they're going to hit the ground running. You know, what happens if Martinez gets injured again? What happens if... yeah, you know, like... It's a concern. Right. Well, let's see what else we've got. Just a heads up as well, guys, for all of the regulars here. This will be the last show that I do until... I'll be back on the 27th, all right? So I'm going to have a couple of days off. I won't be live tomorrow. I won't be live Sunday. I won't be live Monday. I'll be back on the 27th. So I'm going to have 3 or 4 days off. I might potentially try and come back a bit earlier. But I do think it is important at this time of year to take a bit of time away from everything. Hopefully we win tomorrow, but I'm a bit concerned if I'm honest with you. Obviously we've got a game tomorrow against West Ham, and then we play, I think it is it Nottingham Forest? I can't remember who we play. Aston Villa, sorry. We play West Ham tomorrow and then Aston Villa on Boxing Day. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, on the 26th, 8 o'clock kickoff. And then obviously we play Nottingham Forest on the day before New Year's Eve. So yeah, I'm going to take a couple of days off, everybody. I hope everyone has a nice Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. I might potentially be back before the 27th, but I'm not entirely sure. I hope, have a nice time, everybody. I will speak to you all on the 27th, if not before. We'll see how it goes. I'll try and get some videos in between. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. I'm going to try and just take a bit of time off and, relax a little bit away from football and, all the rest of it. But it's difficult. There's going to be so much things going on. Obviously, if there's big things to talk about, I will do videos and stuff, but I'm imagining it's going to be quite quiet between now and the 27th. Obviously, I'll watch the games as always, but have a nice time, everybody. I will speak to you in the next couple of days.